Isle of Man's largest collection of locally produced podcasts, available for free on manxradio.com.
Hi, I'm Chanel, one of the journalists at Manx Radio. Welcome to the latest edition of Manx Radio Newscast.
My name's Natasha Chadwick.
Tell me about it.
So it's Porphyria Awareness Week around the world, and it's Porphyria Global Day on Saturday, the 18th of May. So I volunteer. I'm on the committee with the British Porphyria Association, and we're doing everything we can to spread as much awareness on the condition as possible.
Right, now what is the condition?
So there are 7 different types of porphyria. You can get either skin porphyria or cutaneous. So 7 different types of porphyria. You can get the acute porphyrias or the cutaneous porphyrias, which are skin. My kids have got erythrotic protoporphyria, which is a skin porphyria. What it basically means is that their body doesn't make blood the way that it should make blood, and this results in a buildup of porphyrins in their body. That reacting to light causes a chemical reaction in their body, and it causes them immense pain. It feels like their blood is boiling from the inside out, and that can last days and days of unbearable pain.
Now, that does sound very, very painful, especially for kids. At what age did you kind of figure out or learn about this? I'm assuming as they were growing up.
Yeah, so my daughter is now 12 and my son is 10. But when she was 2, we started noticing that when she'd been outside, she'd be screaming and she'd come inside and she'd be crying. But she was only 2, so you could put it down to all sorts of things. But as time went on, we kind of saw this pattern, and she got diagnosed with 4. It took quite a while, and we had to go to the hospital and doctors quite a lot of times, because with EPP you can't see anything on the skin. It's all under the surface. So a child comes to you screaming and you can't see anything, you're not going to know what's caused it.
So then tell me about your summers.
So summers now, as they're getting older, I think they're actually getting a little bit easier as a parent, because they need to start kind of taking ownership and it's their body now. But when they first got diagnosed, we were told that, just put a hat on, put some sun cream on them. But from talking to the British Porphyria Association and talking to specialists, we've realised it's a lot more than that. So they need to be completely covered up from head to toe. So they're always in hats and scarves, and they have this really thick cream on their face as well. Long sleeve t-shirts, trousers, socks and shoes, and umbrellas, gloves. They are completely covered up. So we don't really encourage them to be outside. Even at school, it's about weighing up what's worth the exposure. But as they're getting older, they're going to learn to push that, and they're going to go outside more and more, and we have to kind of be comfortable with that. But in a perfect scenario, they wouldn't be outside. And if they were outside, they'd be under umbrellas, they'd be in the shade. It's about minimum your exposure as much as possible to light.
Right, now before I go on to the fundraising, are there others on the island that have any type of porphyria?
So there are 5,000 to 10,000 people in the world with the condition that Madison and Isaac have. And we've actually, over the years, discovered that there's actually 7 people on the island with the condition. Now, we think that's probably like a similar amount to the whole of Wales. And it's a genetic condition. So because of our genetic pool, we can assume there's a higher rate on the Isle of Man than anywhere else. So there isn't a lot of people with it. The community have been amazing in helping us and supporting us and understanding our journey, and it's been great that we've been able to talk to other people with the condition on the island, but also off the island. They've got this bigger community and they're meeting other children with the condition, which is why we're doing a bit of fundraising at the moment. There's a camp, like a residential that we're putting on for children with EPP. So it's something I've always wanted to do because they do, in America, they do a sun safe camp. So there's other conditions that are quite similar, which are more extreme, where you can't be outside at all. And they put on these amazing camps where they stay in all day, sleep in the day, and then at night time they go out and they just live a normal child life. So we're trying to do something a bit like that. So it's a bit like over here with the Adventure Centre. Now, as a parent, that's such a scary thing for your child with EPP to do, because it's all outside in the sun and it's just extremely dangerous for them. So we're trying to do something in the UK that means that kids can get involved in those things, but also we're building their confidence and showing them how they can do those things. There's other people with the condition, there's adults that we know, and there's a guy called Anthony that I know well now, and he's got the condition, but he still travels around the world and he does all these amazing things despite the condition. So we want to show kids that as horrible as this condition is, and it really does impact everything. It is a horrible condition to have, that we're trying to show kids that you can still do things and stop them from being so isolated. People with EPP do tend to live quite an isolated life. And when you meet adults with EPP, they do tend to be a lot more recluse. So obviously we want kids now, we want to show them that they don't have to live that way. So the camp we're doing is like a 2-day residential. The kids are all going to like have little dorms, and there'll be kayaking opportunities and climbing and just the normal things that kids can do that a child of EPP isn't necessarily going to feel comfortable, and the parents definitely not feel comfortable. I was quite lucky because Madison went on the school trip to Kingswood with primary school last year, but I've got such a good relationship with the school and the teachers that I knew that she'd be looked after, and it worked. But I know that throughout the UK, not everybody has that opportunity where they have that relationship.
No, definitely. How much are you hoping to raise or looking to raise?
So the British Porphyria Association are hoping to raise, I think it's about £10,000 that we're trying to raise this year. Personally, I want to raise £2,000 this year. The Isle of Man, over the years, my sister and I have raised quite a lot of money for the BPA. I think over the years we've raised about £7,000, and that's just the Manx community just being amazing. So far we've raised £1,400 this year. So we've got another little bit to go. I'm hoping to do a quiz at the end of the summer down in Castletown, just to raise a bit more money. So if anybody wants to share the link to help us raise money and awareness, if they go to my Facebook page, Natasha Chadwick, and it'll be really appreciated if they can help us hit that target. So the Porphyria Awareness Week actually started on Saturday the 11th of May. It runs Saturday the 11th to Saturday the 18th of May. So what we're encouraging people to do is wear purple. We're encouraging people to talk about it. There's some buildings throughout the UK being lit up purple as well. We actually started Porphyria Awareness Week with Isaac taking part in Manx Youth Games on Saturday, which was ridiculously sunny. That is a kind of event and the kind of thing that I don't think Isaac would have been able to take part if we weren't on the island. The Manx community is just, you can't explain it really. The Manx community is just so amazing that everybody wants to help and rally and do what they can to support. And I think it's probably one of the best places in a way to have a rare condition. It's also, when it comes to the medical side, not the best place to be with a rare condition. But Isaac took part in Manx Youth Games on Saturday, he took part in hockey, and he had a great day, and it was a great way to start Porphyria Awareness Week by pushing his limits and showing other children and other parents in the UK that things can be achieved if you put the time and the effort in the communication in to try and adapt it to them. It's all just about planning and adapting when you've got EPP, which is not easy by any stretch of the imagination, and it is very, very difficult. And I know I'm probably coming across that it's all happy and possible, and the reality is that through the summer, Madison and Isaac spend a lot of their time sat inside with the curtains closed, isolated and not seeing their friends and not taking part in things that everyone else does. There's so many things in Castletown in particular that we've always done as we've grown up. The Tim baths, the, picnic in the park, they're all the confetti carnival, all outside things, and it's difficult for Madison and Isaac to safely take part in those things. But I know that if I got there, that they would be supported and that the people around us would be more than understanding and helpful to make sure that they can have that experience that other kids have, and that's so important for them. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that makes that possible, because I genuinely don't believe that would be the case if we were anywhere else in the world.
I think my last question would be, how do you explain to a little child that they can't go out and do those activities with their friends because of their rare condition?
So when Madison and Isaac got the diagnosis, so Madison was 4 and Isaac was 2 or 3 when he got diagnosed, we've always been very open and honest with them, but also with their friends and their friends' parents. So I'm really lucky that they've actually got some amazing friends, and that all their best friends they just know that the way that we explain it to kids is that they're allergic to the sun. My young nephews, we say it makes them poorly to go outside in the sun. And kids are so resilient that they're just like, oh, right, okay. And through the summer, the amount of parents that I have that approach me and say, oh, like, their child was thinking of them together, and like today was thinking, oh, what are the kids up to? Manx Youth Games on Saturday, we had an umbrella to keep Isaac protected when he wasn't playing. All the boys, they rallied around Isaac, they all sat in the corner under umbrellas to be safe, and they don't even think twice. The kids argue in school who gets to stay inside with Madison and Isaac at lunchtime and break. They're not worried about missing out and doing things with their friends. I worry about what other people's kids are missing out on, because it's bad enough that mine do. But their friends just don't. The parents will message me and say, is it okay if they take part in this? Or we're going to do this. Can Isaac do this? Can Madison can do this? How can we make this work for your kids? And I'm just really grateful. But no, their friends, don't get me wrong, like last week was really hard. There are times when it's awful and they're upset and they're in tears and they say it's not fair and this is horrible, and why do we have to spend hours in airports and train stations and in hospitals, and why do we have to have our bloods done countless times a year, and why do we have to have these done and that done? And it's horrible. It really is horrible. But they've just done amazing with it, and their friends are genuinely, I couldn't ask for better friends for the kids. They're just so supportive.
Thank you for making it to the end of the Little Manx Radio newscast. You are obviously someone with exquisite taste. May I politely suggest you might want to subscribe to this and a wide range of Manx Radio podcasts at your favourite podcast provider, so our best bits will magically appear on your smartphone. Thank you.